Time keeps on leaving and we keep on moving. When do we pass on our wisdom to the youth? My veteran story, lost arts discussions, fireside chats with a bourbon or two. It's time to hear the stories by our military veterans. Get yourself ready. It's the Lost Arts Podcast. The Lost Arts with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast. That podcast is giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we'll be having my veteran story with Marine veteran Joe Standifird. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? And go to the Lost Art website. That's the lostart.podbean.com. Go check it out. Be sure to click on that merchandise tab. Go in there, get you some cool gear, get a hat just like I got on here. You can get a shirt, you can get a coffee mug, anything like that to help support the podcast and get our veteran voices out for all to hear. You can also check us out on YouTube at The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Be sure to smash that like button, follow, subscribe, all that other good jazz. And if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast and tell your veteran story, then email me directly at thelostartwithandrewcox@gmail.com. Yeah.
Our wives, it's hard to find a good woman while you're in the military that could be an anchor for you and let you go have fun, right? So
yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
It doesn't come without its challenges, but yeah, very true. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
All right. So you finish that deployment, come back, you go to back to Pendleton at this point. And were you most people when they came back from First Mardiv, they were ramping up to go back over shortly after that. So was that the same experience for you?
For me, I came back and I'm trying to remember. Kind of got back, obviously want to leave and everything else, but got in the mode of get back into operations. And then I got orders back to Okinawa.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah, I went back to Okinawa. So one thing that I made a promise to my wife's family was a couple things. I'm ripping my wife away from her Japanese family, and I have a kid who's half Japanese.
Right.
And I made a promise to her family and to myself that I will try and come back every so often to make sure my kids are in tune with their family, their other half of the family, and my wife, get some time with her family as well. And I lived up to that promise my whole career, man. And so that's why I went back to Okinawa, and I'm glad I did because I'm actually going on vacation here in a few weeks to Japan for a few weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, and my oldest daughter's coming out from Pittsburgh. We're all going together because they're that close with their Japanese side of the family. And
yeah, which is fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's how I went back.
All right, so you're making the trip back for your second time to Okinawa, and then where did you end up going then? What unit? Sorry,
I went back to 3rd TSB.
Okay.
At Camp Foster there, and then got right back into deploying again. Right, just here we go again. I did trying to get my dates right. You started getting that tour. I was probably off the island more than I was on the island.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, man. I deployed so much, dude. So a couple things that happened while I was there was a tsunami. A big tsunami that killed hundreds of thousands of people. Well, I was a staff sergeant at this point, and I was tagged. And for anybody out there that wants to understand how humanitarian operations work, when a humanitarian disaster happens, but you don't have time to plan anything. It's go now because it's all about saving lives, right? So I got tasked with forming a team. I think I took about 15 Marines and just get to Indonesia now, right? 230,000 dead in Banda Aceh. Just take an eraser to the map, and that was Banda Aceh. The only thing left standing was a mosque. Which is weird.
No kidding.
seems to happen all the time. It's always a mosque. But anyways, um, yeah. So, dude, that was nuts, man. We were told I had to create my own equipment list of what I think I needed. I had no information, nothing. Within 24 hours, I'm at the airfield. I've got we've got weapons, we got our ammo and everything else. I've got the gear I need to conduct humanitarian operations. We get to the airfield, we get on the plane, we land in Thailand. I get off the airplane in Thailand, and I have a disperser with me who has thousands of dollars of cash on him, right? And so we get to Thailand. I get off the aircraft. We were on a C-17. I'm the senior man. I get off, and the airfield is just riddled with aircraft because everyone and their mom around the world is responding because Thailand got hit with a tsunami, Indonesia, and I can't Sri Lanka, I think.
Yeah.
So this guy approaches me. My Marines are coming off with weapons and everything else, right? This guy approaches me and says, why are you here with weapons? And I said, well, first of all, Marines never deploy without weapons. Second of all, that was the order I was given. And he gives me this phone, and he says, this is a commander in Hawaii. You need to talk to me. This guy in Hawaii, no idea who this guy is, some commander, tells me, you need to get your Marines back on that plane with your weapons. I said, no, sir, I'm not doing that. I have orders to get to Indonesia to assist with humanitarian disaster. I'm not doing that. What I will do, I've got orders, man, not from this guy, from my leadership, right, in the Marine Corps, tell me, these are your orders, march, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, I'll find an armory to put these weapons in, and then we'll go from there. Okay, they agreed on that. I found an Air Force armory, got all these weapons into the armory, right? What I didn't know, and what no one told me, was Indonesia was not allowing any weapons into their country.
Oh, right? Wow.
I'll kind of get to that in a minute. This is so interesting. So I then walk the airfield. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know who my second point of contact is. My point of contact is in Thailand to get me to Indonesia. So I go down the line, and I'm talking. There's like all these aviation offices. I wasn't an aviation guy at that point, so I had no idea. But I finally get to these Air Force guys. I'm like, yep, we're your ride. And so it's a special operations group, right? It's like a Raven or something. They have like this black nose on the front of the C-130.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like special comms. We get on the aircraft. 45 minutes into our flight, there's a 05 grunt that's on deck in Indonesia. He's the only Marine there, waiting for me and my team, right?
Right.
And he's communicating with the leadership there on the ground at the airfield. Then we get a message from the Indonesian whoever, the pilots, and there's no seats, by the way. We're laying on like pallets on the floor.
Right.
To tell us to turn around. You're not welcome here. Yeah. So the pilot's like, no, we're not doing that. So they contact the 05. They contact Okinawa, who then contacts the 05. He's running up to the leadership to get this settled. We get to Indonesia, and we're doing circles over the airfield in the middle of the night, and they land us in the darkest part of the airfield, right? We get there, boom, we start conducting humanitarian operations over the weeks. We eventually leave because this guy approaches me, this American, this random American, and says, there's a bomb threat. I'm the president of this Christian organization. There's a bomb threat that's going to be targeted toward you guys. I've been told you guys need to leave. I reported that to I reported that to the J2 division. 2 days later, we were gone.
Wow.
And then
that's
3 weeks
wild.
later, yeah. And then 3 weeks later, we deployed to the Philippines for another humanitarian operation. And then after that, deployed to Kuwait for a 9-month deployment. Back and forth in Iraq, but mainly in Kuwait. Kuwait sucks. So that was my tour in Okinawa. So,
Okay. Wow. That very interesting, man. Like
yeah.
that's wild,
So
man.
you want to know? So this is what a senator came down, and the general came down to see us in Indonesia. Um, and the general explained to me in my Marines, the reason why Indonesia acts the way they act is because in their war college for officers, they have a scenario. And that scenario is they have a humanitarian disaster. America comes in to assist, and we take over the country.
No kidding.
Yeah, not kidding you, dude. Yeah.
Wow.
That's why I was so interested in that deployment. So
Yeah. Holy cow. Man. Yeah, that is one wild story right there. That's
yeah,
just insane.
yeah.
Wow. So at this point, you're a staff sergeant in your career, and then you're what is this? You're 8? You're because you're no, actually more than that, maybe
2000,
close to 10.
2005. Yeah, about 10 years at that point. Yep.
Okay. And then what was your next move after Okinawa?
So after that tour, I wanted to be a drill instructor, man. And I knew time was ticking for me. I want to get a B billet in because I wanted to make this, I want to get be successful as I can. And we had the Hearst list, right? I didn't want to get tagged by the Hearst list to be a recruiter. And so before that deployment to Kuwait in Iraq in 2005, I put a drone script package, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the, and then I can't remember exactly what happened, but I told the recruiter, I want to put this drone sticker package in now. And he said, no, wait till you come back from deployment. And I told him, what if the Hearst package comes out and I get selected? Don't worry about that. You'll be fine. Well, guess what happened while I was deployed? Hearst list came out.
Yeah,
I got selected to be a recruiter, right?
of
So
course. Yeah.
I was pissed. So I came back and I explained this to my command, my leadership, and I told them, like, look, my intention was to do this. The package is done. It was never submitted. I was told to wait. So some things were, helped out my part, and I ended up getting orders to VI duty, where I
Yeah,
met you.
that's
Yeah,
right. Down in San
yeah,
Diego,
yeah. That's
Hollywood.
right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So talk to me about your experience going through drill instructor school and then into being a drill instructor. What were your highlights? What was the not so good times, if you want to talk about that, but kind of
Yeah.
walk us through that.
Um, the good thing of me going to, DI duty from Okinawa was I I couldn't bring my family, right? So I was
Yeah.
able to focus solely on just being a drill instructor student, right?
Nice.
Um, I lived in the barracks, and I just for the next 3 months, I mean, I didn't drink a beer until probably towards when we're getting ready to graduate. I just
Oh, wow.
focused 24 hours a day, man. Like even the weekends, ironing my camis, doing my T cards, you know, freaking. I know I'm giving you flashbacks right now. Doing my
Yeah.
T cards, studying my teach backs, right? Studying for tests, getting my body right, icy hot, ice, 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 right? Because the PT was so intense.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
yeah, but I did very well in the high school. I was the second place honor graduate. I got
Okay.
the leadership award recipient, and was also the class commander. But I also got
Wow.
hurt. Yeah, I also got hurt though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I PT'd. I ran so much before DI school. I started feeling some shin splints. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. And as we started going through the training, I ended my leg got so bad that I was running with a huge limp, and I was dropping out of runs, dude, because I had this. I didn't know at that point, but I had the stress fracture, and I kept running.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not getting dropped. It's not happening. I'm not getting dropped. Gunnery now Sergeant Major Marine Corps Ruiz
Yeah.
was our PT instructor, right? Matter of fact, he's the one who presented my leadership award recipient to me, and
Okay.
he could see that I was hurt. But as drill instructors, we're not going to say nothing, right? We wait until
Yeah.
you quit or say, I need to go to medical, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so we're going to the bayonet assault course, and it got so bad, dude. I'm like, I gotta go to medical. And so I went up to now Sergeant Marine Corps Reese and said, Gunny, Gunnery Sergeant, I need to go to medical. And he's like, I don't know why you waited so long. Go. Yeah, man. So, but I got through it. And
yeah.
So anyways,
but you finished it up though, and you had stress fractures the whole time.
Yeah, and guess where I went right after that? I went straight to MAI course.
Oh my God.
I was healed up though. I think I was so physically just built up at that point. I don't know. It just healed up faster. I don't know. But whatever the case would be, I went to MAI course and had no problems and went from there.
Okay. Wow. Did you enjoy the MAI course?
That was probably one of the most physically intense courses I've ever been through.
Yes, I say the same thing.
Yeah, so you went through it, right? Yeah,
I did. Yeah,
yeah, carrying the log all the time, and it makes you. You're already a warrior at that point. It just makes you more of a warrior, right?
Very true. Yeah.
In the sense that even to this day, if I walk into a location, I'm looking for a weapon of opportunity.
Right.
In case something happens. So yeah. But
yeah. That's a tough question. Did you ever do the IT martial arts instructor trainer?
No. I ended up being a black belt, but I never went to the MAIT. No.
Yeah, me either. I did up to black belt, and in fact, I went to the course and I got my black belt at the course. So I was a brown belt as I went, and then I belted up as I became an instructor.
Yeah.
They offered me to go to the IT course. I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, same here.
This is good enough.
I'm good. You can have that. I'm good. So
I don't know if anybody came back from the IT course that I know that didn't have a broken bone somewhere or just some crazy injury, And so I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need it.
Yeah, no, I want to keep my body intact. I'm good.
Yeah,
you can have that.
Yeah. So how was the rest of your tour as a drill instructor? What was it good for you in the long run? Was it worth it? And then two, was it difficult for you as you were doing that tour?
Well, I mean, as you know, being a new hat is rough, right? So
yeah,
I went to Echo Company, Evil Empire, and I got the company I requested. And I was the only fourth hat in the whole company. So guess what I was doing? I was doing
everything.
I was doing everything, right? So lead series, I was the rabbit for the PFT. Oh, hey, can we get your fourth hat for follow series to be the rabbit for PFT? And I'd run 6 miles of PFT in one day as the rabbit and don't get caught, right? So
yeah.
But I mean, that first cycle is rough, as you know. Very rough. I end up totaling my car because my senior my senior finally sent me home. We were at Camp Pendleton, and I had no sleep. I was dog ass tired, and I was behind the wheel. And you know how it is. Your vehicle's just filled with all your crap, right?
Yeah.
And I remember my sword being right there in the middle in the back.
Oh, and
I'm on the I-5 and I fell asleep at the wheel while I'm driving on I-5.
Oh, and man.
Full speed, I crashed into a cargo truck in front of me. And and I remember my lip bleeding, nothing too crazy. But I remember being so pissed because all I wanted to do was go home and go to sleep.
Yeah.
I didn't care about my car it was totaled. I just wanted to go home and go to sleep because he let me home early. And I got to be back at lights, right? So, but after that, when I became a third hat, my second cycle, it started to click, right? And then you start becoming good, right? And then I think one of my biggest accomplishments that I'm proud of was I dropped 17 recruits my second cycle as a third hat. Just I team them all the time. And I say that because if you can't get through boot camp, you should not wear the title of United States Marine. Period.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you can't get through the mental, it's an all mental game. The physical aspect will come, but if you can't mentally get through the rough aspects of what it's like to, have a willingness to, instant obedience, and get to the mental aspect of physically pushing your body to a point where you've never pushed it before, and trusting that you can do this, you should not be a United States Marine. Now that was my mindset, right? And
yeah.
And I didn't do anything, outside of the SOP, that allowed me to do. I just did my job, and they couldn't hack it. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then, I became a J, and obviously, and I think it did really. But you understand, every team I had was only 3 hats. Never had a 4-hat team. Never, dude. So I was on duty all the time. Whether I was a J, 3rd hat, and then you have a 3rd hat who has to do a full cycle before he can do duty. And so, and then becoming a senior was really gratifying because I had an all gunny team. And you know what is on the drill field, right? The gunnies are the old guys. They can't run as fast.
Right.
I told my gunny team, I said, you will, I don't care if that's a sergeant and you're a gunny, you're going to perform at the same level as a sergeant, period. There's no, because it's not fair to our recruits, and transitioning them into United States Marines.
Yeah.
And we won the final drill.
No kidding. Wow. That's awesome.
So with a brand new J. With a brand new J. Yeah. So
wow, that's awesome.
And then, my last senior cycle, graduation day, the next day, you know where I went? Fox. I got no break, dude. I got no break. I went to Fox Company. That's where I met you. So
yeah. It was good times.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy cow. And then now you spent how long were you with Fox? Was it through 2 cycles? 3?
No, one cycle, man. I came to you guys.
It was just one. Okay.
It was just one, yeah. And I think you were, what's your, like, a 1st or 2nd cycle?
Oh yeah, I believe it might have been my 2nd cycle at that point.
Yeah. So, as you know,
I mean, I was still screwing everything up. Yeah.
Well, you're new. You never knew. I don't remember anything, by the way. But, and half the hats got relieved over there, as you know, and I had to I had to fix stuff because they were doing stuff, and I don't know if you went through it yourself, but what I found out was they were doing things. They were more focused on treating their own drill instructors like crap, rather than your mission of training recruits to become United States Marines. Yeah. And I found a lot of startling things. And I also became the 1st sergeant. I was the chief instructor and the 1st sergeant, right? And so me and Umana, I don't know if you remember Umana, right?
Yeah.
He was the other chief drill instructor.
That's right.
He came over with me, and we just cleaned house, man. And we cleaned house in the sense that we just started seeing things that, and not all of them, there was some great drill instructors in that company. I have very fond memories of you. You did a really good job at that point as well. But some of the senior drill instructors, they were doing things that I felt were not conducive to a good training environment for recruits and teaching their drill instructors how to be, the next senior drill instructor, right?
Yeah.
And in the way I found that out was the little things, right? I'd go into a house and I'd walk while they're at class. I'd walk the house, go down between the footlockers, trash. Yeah. So what that tells me is they're running the deck from the quarterdeck. They're being late, right? So I'd pick up all that trash and I'd put it on the senior's desk. I'd put all that trash on the senior's desk, and I'd take their duty huts for trash, and I'd put their wall lockers together, and I'd tape them up. And I'd put a note in there. If this is how your house is, this is how the rest of your house is going to be, And but you know what? we turned around, and one of my proudest moments on the drill field was we turned around so much that Fox Company wasn't known for their drill. But on final drill, the regimental drill master came out, and I don't know if you were in the stands or not, but the regimental drill master came out at the final drill. They were expecting garbage. He was so impressed with the final product. He took his cover off, and we don't do those drill stickers up very often. And he gave us huge props as a company because we boosted, the drill average to be one of the tops in the regiment. And it was all just getting drill stickers focused on what the mission was. So
kind of back to the basics of what's going
on.
Back
to the basics, man. That's it,
So you were right. There was some how do you put it? There was some shady stuff happening.
I know, man.
But hey, it is what it is. I learned a lot from it. I can tell you that.
Well, it probably helped you as you went up to the ranks as a drill instructor. What worked and what didn't work. That didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. I think it helped my mindset more than anything as I was moving up. When I finally became a senior, I was like, I'm not going to treat my drill instructors the way I was treated. And I treated them with respect and made them do their job, but it wasn't like I wasn't out to hurt them or haze them or anything like that. I was like, no, we're here to do a job, and we're going to do the job to the best of our ability. So
I was hard on my drill instructors. Don't get me wrong, but not to the point where, hey, get in here, shove some chow down your throat, drink some water, right? And go home. I got duty tonight, So,
but very cool. So you did your time on the depot, and then where were you going to go at that point?
So I ended up becoming the drill instructor, and then became the chief instructor at DI school as well, my last year. And then I got orders back to where? Guess where?
Okinawa.
Okay. So
now, was your wife there the whole time?
What's that?
Was your wife over there the whole time you were on the drill field?
Oh yeah, dude. She went through a lot. It was with our wives as drill instructors. Yeah, dude. I mean, our wives go through. That's a 3-year deployment. And so she was here with me, and we went back to Okinawa again, and here tour there. So
wow.
I spent a total of 12 years in Japan, just back and forth.
No kidding.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
I got 15 sea surf deployment rooms, dude.
So, oh my god.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did you go back to the same unit, or was this a different unit?
No. So I went to a unit called CLR 37. I was there for about 10 months. But soon after I got there, I got selected at First Sergeant. And then I got orders and I begged, plead, and prodded for orders to 9th ESB because I knew they were going to Afghanistan. And I was able to pull some cords with the group sergeant major, who's Sergeant Major Finnegan, great guy, awesome guy, and he saw the passion in me, I guess, I don't know, and was able to get some orders changed and give me orders to 9th ESB up in Camp Hansen.
Yeah, very nice. And then you did deploy with them to Afghanistan?
I did. Yeah, I had a combat engineer company. I was in 2012, I think it was.
Okay. Wow. And what were you doing on that deployment?
So it's a company First Sergeant, combat engineers, and for a lot of people out there that don't know what combat engineers do, they have a gamut of things they do, almost to the point where they're good at everything, but a master at nothing. They do horizontal, vertical construction, demolition, bridging. I mean, go on and on. They do a lot of stuff. So so I was there to provide a combat engineer capability to the battalion in the Helmand province.
Okay. And was that a decent deployment for you, or?
That was rough, dude. That was a rough deployment.
Yeah.
So soon after, we probably 2 to 3 weeks after we got there, we started getting casualties.
Mm.
Now we're in the fight against, we're fighting terrorists. And yeah, I mean, the South was pretty much cleared out at that point. Now a lot of the focus is up where we were at.
Hmm.
And we were there to provide a mobility capability to get after the fight and get after the enemy. So
Right.
a lot of IEDs, a lot of IEDs, man.
Mm.
And I'll put it like this. There was one operation that I was on, and we stopped counting at 130 IEDs that we'd found on one operation while we're getting attacked by the enemy. Right? It's just very kinetic, very kinetic. And yeah, and I was surprised that I didn't take as many casualties in my company because of what we found and what we went through while we were there.
Right.
But yeah, that was Afghanistan was rough, man. A lot of unfortunately, more memorials than I would like to see. And
Mm.
but our battalion did a hell of a job, man. You know,
Wow.
a lot was accomplished during that. So
Wow. And you said it was what, 2013? Is that what you said?
2012.
12.
It
Okay.
was 2012 we deployed. So
Okay. Wow. Okay. Taking things out of that, or what lessons learned out of that would you have for anybody that's getting ready to deploy, anything like that?
I'll tell you what, and this is just for any leader out there. I've had Marines before we went into combat who are not garrison Marines, right? They're not garrison Marines. And you the typical turd who does something wrong, you're always like smacking upside the head, right? But sometimes those Marines, when you get them in a conflict, like most Marines, when you get them in a conflict like that, all that crap's out the window, and they become one of the best combat Marines that you've ever seen. And so every Marine is valuable, whether it's a PFC that's been NJP twice, you're taking them with you, or it's that sergeant that's your superstar that's, you know, he's been the sergeant's course honor graduate or whatever the case may be. Every single Marine in your platoon or in your company or your unit is valuable. And not that I didn't know that before, because I had been in combat prior to that as well, right? But this was a
Mm-hmm.
different kind of fight. And you need everybody. And so don't find if your Marines are the most valuable asset. That's our center of gravity, right? It's the most valuable
Right.
asset we got. Marines are going to screw up all the time. Find a way to get them back on track instead of finding a way to get them kicked out, because you're going to need them. And
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest piece I could say.
That's great advice. Yeah.
Every Marine's valuable.
That's really good. Yeah, very true. All right. So yeah, finish that deployment. Still first sergeant at this point. Are you going to be like, did you get orders somewhere else, or do you stick around there? What
I
happened
wanted
then?
to get, I wanted to get with the grunts. So
Okay.
I wanted to get with the grunts, but I didn't want to go to 29 Palms. Right? I'm in Okinawa for 3 years, right? And so the monitor gave me, okay, you want to go to the grunts? Well, I have 2-7 open in 29 Palms. I'm like, all right, it's good, let's go. So I get with 2-7.
Okay.
And that was 29 Palms. I don't know if you've ever been there or not, but
I have. That was my first duty station out there.
okay, so
Yeah.
it's the armpit of earth. But the training is excellent. I went through so
Hmm.
much training there. I was probably the most physically fit I've ever been in my life. Was at 29 Palms because there was nothing to do but train.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very true. Did you end up going on a deployment with 2-7 or?
I did a couple. So
Okay.
my company would go on a rotational. I forget the name of the deployment, but it's a rotational. I'll get the plaque right there. Anyways, it's a rotational deployment we do in Jordan where we would train Jordanian forces It's basically their like ITX before they go to um, um, Afghanistan. So we're trained
Oh,
Jordanian
okay.
battalions to prep them for the deployment to Afghanistan, and that was pretty trippy. I'm gonna tell you right now, the United States military is the best in the world, and you know, and how we train is bar none compared to anybody else. So
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of difficult training another military that's just they're not as advanced as us. Um, they don't have the lens like we do. Um, but it was very rewarding. And then went back again for Operation Inherent Resolve. Was the very first one to fight ISIS. And that was in
Oh, okay.
2000. Yeah. So my company, we were all over the Middle East. Our battalion was. Um, my company was in Jordan, and that's when ISIS was kind of trying to cross the border into Jordan and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then my company was a company that reinserted back into Iraq after we were pulled out during President Obama's time. So my company
Right.
we did a night insertion back into Al Assad, and it had been
No
desolate.
kidding. Wow.
Yeah, it had been desolate for years. Um,
Huh.
you want to know the one thing that was left untouched on Al Assad?
What's that?
The gym.
Are you serious?
Iraqis don't work out. The gym.
Uh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a
there's
good
still
point.
weights in there and everything else. So, but
Wow.
that was a very interesting point as well.
Huh. Wow. Yeah, you've definitely done one or two deployments there. How many total deployments have you done?
If you count all the 2 3 month deployments, to countries across the Pacific and the Middle East, dude, I'd probably 20, maybe more. I don't know. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow,
you
that's
know, I,
incredible.
yeah. And
Now,
the bad thing is like a lot of those I would come on to my wife. Um, they're sending me off again, but I volunteered for it. You know, but
and I'm sure she knew
the
that.
majority of those are like 2 3 month deployments. You know, with a few 6 month, a 9 month deployment thrown in there. So.
Right, 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 right. Wow. All right. So at this point, what was next in your stepped career, and where did you go?
So my last duty station, I wanted to do aviation, right? So I got promoted to sergeant major.
Hmm.
I was like, let me try this aviation thing and then see what goes from there. Maybe retire, maybe not. We'll see. Um, so I got orders to VMFA 232,
Hmm.
Red Devils, F-18s out of Miramar, and I spent my twilight tour there. That was very rewarding as well. I mean, did a deploy UDP with them as well.
Okay.
Um, to Iwakuni. Never been to Iwakuni before. Um, but yeah, that was very. I went into that unit thinking I was going to fix haircuts, right?
Yeah.
The wing mentality, right? It's totally false, 100% false. They were some of the most squared away Marines I've ever met in my life. Um, they would not stop working, right? These kids
Yeah.
work 12 hours a day. I got to force them to go to chow. I got to tell my staff and SEALs, I'm going to crush you if you don't make your Marines go to chow. It's all about getting birds up in the air, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, very rewarding tour.
I
Never
got to
tired.
go to Miramar for like 7 months, whatever, with the band there, and
Yeah,
I could not believe
yeah.
the mentality that they have when it comes to aircraft and the checks and balances that have to happen. Like I had no clue,
Oh
and
yeah,
I'm sitting in meetings and I'm like, oh my God, like this is
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, yeah. It's so intense that people get relieved. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
quite often in the wing. Because it's all about getting birds in the air.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Wow.
so,
What were some of the?
rewarding
Oh,
and
sorry.
challenging experience same time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What would you say that your, I guess, your best experience with the Air Wing was, and then what was probably the biggest myth that you had walking in?
Best experience was um, probably my our UDP deployment to Iwakuni. I mean, the great thing about deployment with Marines is the camaraderie is you're going to get the camaraderie, right? Because you're with each other every single day. And just the ability to connect with my staff and COs, with the officers, especially in the sergeant major. You also mentor the young officers too. And these are pilots, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
seeing how they operate in real time on deployment was just with allied nations, right? We were doing some pretty big exercises. I've also went to Alaska as well. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, working with the Air Force there and watching how it's called, I can't remember the name of the exercise, Red something. But you got like 100 jets in the air and they're doing dogfights against each other. And it's crazy seeing it. And I'm watching this on the screen. And watching the Marines, like how focused they are in that mission and watching them execute the mission and the excitement they get when the pilots come back and they successfully completed their mission, was very satisfying for me. Yeah, and then everything else that goes along with deployment. So the biggest myth was what I just told you, right?
Yeah.
Where the wing has a problem with haircuts, they have a problem with discipline, and everything else. No, that's a complete myth. They are Marines, no matter what unit you go to. What I've learned is they're just as good as their leadership.
Yeah, good point.
It doesn't matter where you go. They're just as good at leadership. I've been to units where you would think that they're hardcore and they're complete garbage. You got to fix it, right? So, yeah, that's a myth.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, and then at this point, you said that was your twilight tour, so brought you up to retirement. And what year was it that you retired?
2019. Retired.
2019.
Okay. Yeah. You know that feeling, how that feels.
I do. Yeah. I don't know about you, but it feels fantastic.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
Well,
it was a
they
nice.
tell you. Yeah, they've told us, right, that you're gonna know when it's time to go. Right.
That's right.
And I didn't want to be that guy that held up the promotion process, the promotion system, because I wanted to just be selfish and just go to 30. And I wouldn't give it 100%, right? So yeah, so it's time to go, and I don't regret it. No regrets.
Yeah, and you said you retired at 23 years?
24.
24 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I did. I retired right at 25, and I knew it was time.
Nice. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, you're doing well, man.
Yeah. It's been good. So what have you been doing after retirement? You working somewhere? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm still working. I live in California, man. You gotta work.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So I want to get, I was just, my brain was on leadership. I wanted to get my skills out to the civilian sector and jump into the civilian sector, right? So I ended up getting into the oil and gas industry. And I worked for the biggest propane company in all of America. And I was hired as an area manager. And I was given truck drivers and, an office staff of women that do customer service and service technicians and stuff like that. And I had a big area I was responsible for here in Southern California. And I was doing very well for myself. And I got promoted to area manager. So I had 2 districts now. And, I had a big name for myself in the company. And this guy's a rock star. But I was working 7 days a week. I was getting phone calls on Christmas Day, on Thanksgiving Day. And it got to the point, and I'm working with civilians that don't want to improve their lives to become better and just drive, move up the ladder of success. They're perfectly fine just being where they're at, and that's fine. I have no issues with that. But I also had people telling me, "No, I'm not doing that." And I'm not used to that attitude, right? So I had a couple Marine moments, right? And I learned to take it down a couple notches, right?
Right.
And I was making very good money, but it got to the point where it was affecting my mental health.
Yeah.
Home wasn't good. I was just angry, upset, stressed all the time. I couldn't even enjoy a day of golf without my phone blowing up. And I quit. after 2 years, I said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. It shocked my leadership. They're like, you're my number one. What are you talking about? You want more money? I said, nope, the money's not worth it. Thank you, for the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, but I had to work, right? Because I live in California. I was like, I need to get back into supporting the military. I got to be around the military. So now for the past 3 years, I've been a logistics analyst for the Navy. And this will get you. Supporting submarine communications.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So I've been in the submarine role for the past 3 years, believe it or not. Got my clearance upgraded and everything else. And,
Yeah.
but it's been set. I got promoted. So it's been, I've learned a lot over the past few years about the Navy, but I feel so much, I work 40 hours a week, right? I got time with my family. We gave our time to the military, right?
Yeah.
And then some. I'm just happier now, man. And my mental health is, I'm in a great spot right now. I'm working around retired military dudes that get it, and government civilians who've been doing this for a while. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now in life, dude.
Very nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the whole mental health aspect is huge. You spend so much time, given to the Marine Corps, like you were saying, or given to the military. That mental health after you get out is incredibly important. So
Yes.
I'm glad to see that you were able to jump
Yeah.
on that, and you're in a much better place. That's good.
Man, I think on that aspect, the mental health thing, whether you want to say it or not, we've all been through it, right? We've all been through it, right? And a lot of our brothers are still going through it. And to I think you're weak if you're not able to talk about it. I'm not saying in public or anything else, but pick up the phone and call somebody. And I know it's hard. I get it. It's difficult, but I will have more respect for you if you reach out to somebody and ask for help rather than just bottle that stuff in, because everybody needs you here, right? Yeah. So I've actually, I was in that mindset prior to retiring where we talk to each other, right? But me myself, I would just bottle things in because I felt I was weak, right? Like, no, I'm not showing this. I'm not talking about this, but I've changed that mindset since I've retired. I think everyone else needs to as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's better for at least in what my experience was. Uh, it made my family life better whenever I was doing that. So, but yeah, I agree. You need to reach out.
Yep, absolutely.
So, any last words? Anything that you want to leave the listeners with before we close this thing out?
No, I just enjoy the ride, and for those of you that are watching, AJ's videos and looking to become a Marine, prepare yourself for it, but understand that only 1%, less than 1% of Americans are United States Marines, and 1% of Americans have joined the United States military. And if that's an aspiration for you, you're not going to make a lot of money in the beginning, but you're going to be taken care of, and that will live with you for the rest of your life. And for those that are still in the fight, stay in the fight. It's tough. There's always somebody out there that can help you out along the way. And just, got questions, there's a lot of people to ask. And to all of my veteran brothers out there and sisters, thank you for serving, and stay in connection with your service, with your buddies. Know that you're going to be an airman, soldier, coastie, sailor, marine to the day you die. Like, no one can ever take that away from you. Be proud of that. So that's really all I got.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. I'm excited to be able to hear your whole story. Absolutely incredible, by the way. You're one of those guys that I look up to. So did great things while you were in, and superstar in my opinion. But yeah, thanks for coming on and sharing your story. Much appreciated.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. And keep in touch, man.
Yeah, will do. Will do. Hey, to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need some help, anything like that, you're feeling about hurting yourself, remember the VA does have some resources for you. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net, click on that chat icon. Any of those are going to be able to put you in contact with somebody that's going to be able to help you out. One veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. I know Joe cares about you. The entire veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. With that, Joe, one last time, thanks for coming on. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.